the Y session will comprise of the moderator, who will open the session by setting the context from an industry point of view. Then we'll have 3 to 4 investors providing their perspectives on why they have invested in specific startups related to the theme. Example, water, energy, storage, etc. They will then 3 to 4 startups each provide inputs on why they are doing what they are doing, the key environmental, decarbonization and sustainability impacts of their work. At the end of this, both the startups and the investors' insights on whys. The moderator will provide further context to the sessions by providing each questions from the startups and the investors. So, for the second day of Y session for waste management, I would like to invite moderator Mr. Sankar Narayanan from Srinivasa Waste Management. I would like to invite investors Mr. Vishal Katariya from Ankur Capital and Kavya Agarwal from 3i Partners. I would like to invite the startups Diwakar from Acclaim Technologies, Krishnan from Wastelink, Vishnu Vardhaan from CercleX.
Good evening, everyone. So this is the last session. I understand, many of you would be on a rush to move to catch your flights or want to end the day. But before that, we think we can produce an interesting session here about waste management. So on my side, we have investors sitting on both of my on the right and left, and then we have startups on the other end doing it. So before starting this session, I spoke to Narshi and he said we can give some case study about what we have done in Chennai. So I represent Srinivasa Waste Management Services. So we are a 20-year-old company and we have multiple disciplines in waste management. And one of our new project is BioCNG, waste to BioCNG. So we have built one of the largest plant in South India in Chennai, Egmore, in public-private partnership with the Chennai Corporation. So since this is a new gen industry and now government is having a lot of interest towards that, I thought of giving a brief case study about our project. And from there, I think we can kickstart the sessions with the investors and the startups. Our plant in Chennai is 100 metric ton processing capacity of wet waste. Typically when we talk about biogas in India, even before 3 years, the capacity would not exceed more than 20 metric ton. But we are one of the first companies, only 2-3 companies in India have started venturing into that 100 tons mark. So we are one of the companies where we have taken 100 ton project and we have executed. So our project is very different from the other projects you currently see in India. So it is an kind of when you talk about circular economy to the scale of what we do, I can explain that, you will understand that. So we take wet waste from all the hotels in Chennai. So at least we take it from 500 hotels. We have a brand called Big Bin which collects all the waste from the hotels in Chennai. So we get excellent food waste from them. In Chennai, if you can name a brand, most of the hotels we will be serving and we will be taking the waste, since they are the bulk waste generators. So this bulk waste generators concept, though introduced in MSW 2016 rules, it was not catching up. So, but in Chennai we are doing it in a successful way. And we have a big fleet for collecting this waste and we bring it to the plant. And when we process this waste, and we have 2 types of use cases in terms of distributing that gas. So one, we take the waste from the hotels and we give them back as cooking gas. So in Chennai, we are the first one to supply CNG to the hotels and other places. It's not the CDG torrent which is currently doing. We supplied the first CNG cylinders for them. So it's a kind of a circular economy we are building. So we take the waste, we process it, we sell the gas back to the hotels. And also we are also part of Satat program which government has launched. We are supplying it to GAIL, and through GAIL we are giving it to Torrent and AGNP, who are the city gas distributors for Chennai and the neighboring parts. So in this way, I mean, so we are also looking, we are also now trying to build more projects like this, and also we are doing a lot of other. I mean, one of the things why we come for events like this is that to see how we can scale a technology to a bigger scale. For example, today we are, I mean, we are letting out 26,000 metric ton of CO2 into the atmosphere by this process. Anyhow, it is a carbon neutral project, so there is no harm to the environment. But then again, anyhow we are doing it. So we are thinking if we can bottle it and we can sell it to the I mean food processing units or for different industrial units. So we are working with Secri Karekudi for capturing the carbon dioxide from the plant and then bottle it and sell it to the people. And also we are working with some other experiments I mean, instead of going for the manure, which is a regular path, we are thinking of taking some calorific value out of it and then selling it to some of the hotels is what we are thinking. So we are doing, I mean, there are a few startups here which we are working, and also we are trying MOUs with some of the premium institutions, and we are also trying to create an MOU with IITM also. So, so this is kind of what do you say, a new age industry. Though we have a lot of experience in that, we have taken it as a challenge and we have made it as a success. And this is a flagship project for Chennai Corporation, and even lot of visitors. I mean, at least 4 or 5 days in a week we will have visitors. Even large conglomerates like Reliance, before starting their own ventures, they have visited our place and they have taken cues from us. So in that sense, we take pride in doing that. And also we are also in expansion mode also in putting more plants across India. So this is a brief case study where we have taken a new age industry and then made this a successful thing. So and being a person in a waste management industry for quite some time, we know the pain in earlier years to get an investment from an investor or from a bank. Okay, so there are times where people will come and ask us, so you are billing for the government, how come we trust you? And even for getting compactors and other vehicles for waste management, it will be very tough for us. I mean, for getting any tipper it would be easy, but for getting a compactor, we have to convince the bankers and then get the fund. But today, I mean, events like CLIMAFIX and others has able to parade investors here and have startups on the other side to take it. So with this brief, I will hand over this to, at least we want to hear the investors' view first. So I will give it to a gentleman from the Ankur Capital and let him give a perspective.
Thanks very much. I'm Vishal and I represent the Ankur Capital team. We're an early stage venture capital fund that's been around for about 10 years now. Although our explicit climate focus has been a result of the last 2 years of work for us. We haven't exactly invested in waste management companies in a direct way, although I will argue that we have done it in an indirect way. One of the core types of companies that we've invested in and we continue to invest in are companies building digitization layers on top of existing supply chains. And we've already seen that having such a solution, whether it's in fresh fruits and vegetables or in seafood and meat, results in a drastic drop in food wastage right from the outset because of efficient sourcing. On the other hand, I think there is a lot of interesting technologies that have existed for a long time, that have attained a sense of commercial maturity as well as commercial demand on the waste management or waste upcycling front. And we're very excited to be part of and participate in the circular economy story that's growing in India in a major way, both in the urban and rural settings. Part of the problem is obviously just an organizational one, in order to, as you mentioned, to just source the waste and to convert it into something that's more useful. We also see a major role being played by technological improvements, particularly from the biotech side, whether that's improve microbes to upcycle waste into something else, or enzymatic based processes. That's something that we're keeping a very keen eye on and looking to participate in more and more in the coming year or two. So thanks.
Thanks, Vishal. So I give it to ma'am.
Hello everyone, I hope I am audible to all. So I'm Kavya, I represent 3i Partners. 3i Partners is an impact investment firm based out of Silicon Valley, Bay Area. We are early stage investors, and unlike Ankur Capital, I would say we have invested in 3 waste management startups very directly. We are very early, we're very, early fund in sense that we started investing in 2020. December 2020 is when we made our first investment. And so far, over last 2.5 years, we have made 9 investments, and there are 2 more that are approved and in different stages of closure. Out of these 9, there are 3 in waste management space, and I'll briefly tell basically what each of these are doing. So our first investment in waste management space was Hasiru Dala. Actually, before coming to these 3 investments, let me tell you broadly about our thesis and our strategy behind investing. So, as I mentioned, we are impact investment fund, and what we really mean by impact is twofold. We define impact in 2 manners. One is social impact, and another is environmental impact. And waste management is one space that we look at from both the perspective, from social impact as well as from environmental impact. How we define social impact is basically solutions that are geared towards bottom quartile of the Indian population. So say under waste management, when solutions are geared towards improving livelihoods, improving the quality or average income of waste pickers, that would be one area that we would keenly love to look at. Under environmental impact, it could be anything ranging from renewable energy solutions to circular economy related solutions, sustainable packaging related solutions, so on and so forth. Now coming to the 3 startups that we have invested in. Hasiru Dala, actually very interesting story. The startup itself emerged from an NGO, so very, very closely intertwined or very closely linked to waste picker lives. Their whole narrative is to, they have 2 kinds of programs, total waste management and event waste management. So they work at L0, which is they hire waste pickers and ultimately work with various corporates, apartment complexes, so on and so forth, to get the waste segregated and recycled right at the source. So a thesis behind investing in Hasiru Dala was more towards social impact because they are directly improving or empowering the lives of waste pickers. Our second investment in... Okay. I think that's very relevant. And both Shekhar and Nalini, brilliant founders, their heart and mind very much in place, in the sector. So good case study, I think everyone should look at. We're very proud of funding them. So that's one. Second, our second investment in waste management is more towards technology. It's PadCare Labs. What PadCare Labs do is essentially they recycle used sanitary napkins. Now, while there had been multiple technologies existing, since some time now to recycle used sanitary napkins, more related to incineration, so on and so forth. What differentiates really PadCare Labs from other existing technologies is their approach towards it. Their technology is absolutely green. Whole process of recycling used sanitary napkins is absolutely green, and ultimately what comes out of it is ash that can be further made into notebooks. And I mean, again, a brilliant founder, very young, energetic, enthusiastic founder, Ajinkya, and again, very proud of, investing in them. Our very, very recent investment, third investment in waste management space that we have not yet announced because we closed it just 2 weeks back, is Recircle. Very close to, CercleX. You'll hear more about CercleX. They have very, very similar model, and of course with differences. But yeah, I mean, I would say in the whole value chain of waste management, they are more at L2. So Hasiru Dala we see at L0, which is they work directly with waste pickers, and Recircle is at L2. And by that I mean that they work with waste collectors or waste aggregators, and ultimately use that waste to, not really use that waste, but basically generate credit. Generate credits out of it to fulfill extended producer responsibilities of large businesses. So they have brands like Coca-Cola, HUL, with whom they are working, with whom they collaborate, and on their behalf they collect, say, used bottles, ensure proper recycling of those and of those bottles, and the credits that are generated during the process, they sell those credits to these big brands, and it helps these big brands in offsetting, as in some of their extended, offsetting the carbon, some of the carbon or extended producer responsibility. So all in all, if I have to summarize, what interests us as a fund is, or our solutions that are either very, very impact heavy, very much like social impact heavy, very much like very much like Hasiru Dala, or very technologically driven, innovative solutions, more like, say, PadCare Labs that can, bring in some long-term change overall to the ecosystem. In case of PadCare Labs, our impact thesis was more from the perspective of preventing waste or preventing these sanitary napkins from going into landfills, and thereby, giving some dignity to waste picker lives as well. That's secondary impact. Primary impact being preventing these napkins going into landfills. And over time, we also see this can be extended to diapers, used diapers, although that is still in R&D stage at PadCare Labs. In case of Recircle, our thesis was more around, corporate offsetting, more around extended producer responsibility. So we try and touch whole value chain when it comes to waste management. Some of the interesting areas that we are looking at, sustainable packaging solutions, or tech-driven sorting solutions right at the source, sorting and segregation solutions right at the source. I would also say biotechnology-based solutions, enzymatic solutions that can convert waste to value. That is also something that interests us a lot. So yeah, that's about us. Happy to answer if there are any questions.
Yeah, thank you. So at least one startup we are already working with Hasiru Dala. So they are in touch with us for wet waste processing, and probably the other startup you can also ask us to touch with, because we segregate a lot of waste. So napkins is our biggest problem. So probably we can see if we can do something with them. So let us move to the other part. So I will come in the order which they have given to me. So I will start with Mr. Diwakar. So we know each other, but for a long time. But so this is one of the things where I sit in this side and he's on that side. So for his age, he's a very active gentleman, and he's very interested in doing the technologies related to biogas on the smaller size plant. So, Mr. Diwakar, yeah, please go ahead and.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for the compliments. So, just imagine somebody comes and tells you, "Nee waste." So that is what actually is happening. We don't consider this waste as a resource. Actually speaking, this is the resource on which we are sitting and which we can say is a really reliable renewable energy. You take any other source of renewable energy, let us say solar or wind, you can only say on an average 1 megawatt of installation will give you this much in a year. Whereas in waste management as a resource, you can clearly say, okay, I have 1 ton of waste inside and 40 kgs of gas is what I can give you. This may change about 5 or 10%, but otherwise you are assured of renewable, reliable energy, and it is clean. And also in the process, we are cleaning up the waste. So how to consider this as a resource, that is what I have come to say. I have about 10 slides to be shown. So the time given to me was 4 minutes. So let me see whether I can put the paper across to you and what are the challenges. We started off with the biomass in 1984, and we have come a long way, and today no more biomass is no more viable because of the constraints in that of sourcing biomass, the type of biomass available, and the challenges in that. So today we have slowly moved on to compressed biogas. So biogas from waste, and we are looking at waste as a resource. So the definitions you can see in all Google and WhatsApp can give you this. So we'll go to the next slide. So now these are the challenges that we are coming through. This is a great business. You can see Praj, the entry of Adani, Ambani, Reliance, Tatas, all are there. So that is where we look at the potential of it. So this is a great business potential because India imports 21 million tons of gas per annum, which is about 50% of the natural gas requirement. Government of India plans to set up around 5,000 compressed biogas plants across the country by 2025, which is expected to produce 15 million tons of CBG per annum. So projected to generate 45,000 employment. So you can bet this is the energy of the future. Next, please. So this is and the government of India, this is a priority sector now. Capital cost is around 4 crore per ton. It can vary between 3.5 and 5 depending upon the source material and then the level of automation and quality of the project that you are going to implement. And term loans are repayable over a period of 10 to 15 years. And MNRE Central Financial Assistance is about 4 crore per 4,800 kg of CBG per day with a maximum of 10 crore per project. So you have to be very clear about the scale at which you go. The efforts that we put in, whether it is a 2-ton plant or a 4-ton plant or a 10-ton plant, are going to be same. That you will find as I go through. So have a look at it. Market development assistance in fertilizers are also given. So far we were dependent on the realization of this vertical of organic fertilizer. But today there is a subsidy in that also. And it is one of the best organic fertilizers I can bet. And priority lending. They have got earmarked amounts specifically for this renewable energy project. So you go to a bank and if your credentials are good, your loan is available, and also investors are willing to come to help us in this sector. Next, please. So consulting services has to look beyond what they have to go, because entrepreneurs may be knowledgeable, or they are coming to us expecting us to give them the real knowledge about the sector. So this is where we have an important role. Making small money in consulting is not the issue. We have been here from 1984 and all our projects are commercially viable, and we ensure that hand-holding is done so that the entrepreneur doesn't suffer over a period of time after the investment, and we don't want to have the curse. So here the risk management, feedstock availability and cost. What is your feed cost? So at what price it will be, what will be the cost to company at the end of the day when it reaches your factory, including your unloading and then your loading. Then gas output. We are tied up with BARC, and we normally give their Nisarguna technology. This is a twin digester patented technology which will deliver gas faster, and also committed volume is available based on the feedstock. Financial engineering, the investment and revenue stream. We can look at this. The revenue stream comes out of this one. So for every 100 ton we are taking 100 ton as a basic thing because Narayanan had his plant at 100 ton. So that's an ideal capacity at today's waste management, I feel. So here the output that comes is around the compressed biogas is 4 tons and the carbon dioxide 3.5 ton and fertilizer is about 20 tons. All the three are verticals. How you are going to harness this outputs is the big question. We are all focusing on compressed biogas. But what happens to the CO2? There is a market for CO2 too. There are other options which CO2 can be put to. Yesterday I was having a discussion with our algae people. So these are one of the areas which we have not experimented, but there is large scope for improvement. Then we come to fertilizers, 20 tons. And this is a very organic rich fertilizer, and today we have assistance even in that about 1,500 rupees per ton. So cost
Diwakar
recovery is...
Diwakar sir, we are running out of time. So if you want
next one,
the key pitch, then you can do it.
So the volumes that you have to look at, the feedstock availability, the transportation cost, because you will have to see that your transport is based on your gas itself. Output guarantees, because when we say 100 tons will give you 4 tons, it has to give between 3.5 and 4.5. And the offtake guarantees are already there because he has mentioned about the Satat scheme where government takes. Next slide, please. So this is the scheme. If you look at the actual the active LOIs have come down from this financial from 4,000 approximately to 2,189. And the plans commissioned so far is only 48 when we had a very ambitious plan. And out of that, if you look at the outputs, it's around 2,800 tons, which is an abysmally low 16 tons per day per plant. So what are these things that we have to look at this? Next, please. So these are the challenges. So whether you are doing a 2-ton plant or a 10-ton plant, these are the things. From company registration to GST, the amount of clearances that we have to get, and the cost associated with that and the time overruns, that has to be very careful. Next, please. So all these are the benefits that come to us. So how to harness this and make this a success is the challenge that the entrepreneurs and consultants have to work together and then see that there is a big potential, because there is no waste until it is wasted by you. It's a resource. So how to harness that? Thank you. I have my contact details if anybody is interested. We have done from 100 kgs per day up to 100 tons per day. So plug and play systems also we have. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Diwakar sir. So see, smaller plants are catching up now because in rural pockets and the small municipal corporations, you need smaller plants. So if anybody is, it's going to come in a big way. So if some investors are interested in this project, I think we can talk to them. So next one is Mr. Krishnan Kasturirangan from Wastelink.
Thank you. Am I audible? It's closer. Okay. I almost feel like I'm chewing it. But, good evening, everyone. My name is Krishnan Kasturirangan. I'm the co-founder of Wastelink. Wastelink is born to solve for food waste. Food waste in itself is an extremely large problem to go after. We have decided to go after the problem of commercial food waste, which is food waste produced by companies that are in the business of food. More specifically, our focus has been on the packaged food and retail industry. So we work with companies like ITC, Unilever, Britannia, you can name it, anyone whose food you would buy off of a grocery store or online retail. So packaged food is our focus. And we collect and upcycle this into animal feed ingredients. We actually make an ingredient that is one of the raw materials for the final feed that feed manufacturers make. In our business model, we are B2B, so we only sell our feed to animal feed manufacturers. I can go into a cattle feed, poultry feed, aqua, swine. The choice is up to the feed manufacturer, really. We are solving for a problem around energy, fat, protein, whatever it may be. On the supply side, which for us is the food brands, there are several problems we end up solving. I think the biggest problem, actually, which is a barrier for food waste upcycling, was trust. In our country, unfortunately, there's a lot of expired foods that ends up back in the market, repackaged, resold. So brands, many of the reputed brands at least, were quite okay burning it or sending it to landfills. And because they didn't want to find their food back in the hands of humans. But I think we have been able to solve for that. We have a tech-enabled traceability, similar to the platform you have, and we give them a series of value prop. You can say we're also very service-oriented, so we go to where we actually operate all over India. Every state and union territory other than Andaman and Lakshadweep we visit. So we have a single solution for brands. Right? We go aggregate them. We take a lot of operational hassles out of these food companies. We bring it to our factories and then we convert it into animal nutrition. The nutrition itself that we make is highly sought after in the feed industry. A lot of repeat buying because feed companies, they don't get this kind of quality of ingredients. I think, the best of commodities ends up in our table, as our food. It's the bottom half of the commodities, the low quality grains that end up in animal nutrition. So when we repurpose human quality food back into animal feed, they see a phenomenal value in quality, and we price it so that it is on par with the commodities. So in essence, our customers, who are essentially feed manufacturers, find phenomenal value in what we do. And this is essentially what we bridge. It's a circular economy company in its classic sense. Very common sense business, I would say. I mean, it's just taking something which is good, useful, and just finding a home for it in animal nutrition. So that's what we do. And to do this, we have to operate facilities. We do our own conversion. And we realized in this industry, and to win the trust of the food companies, we had to do the conversion because there are several people who are carrying around PCBs of feed conversion, but they don't do feed conversion. They find ways to bring that food back into human consumption. So we realized that for us to be successful, we have to do our own conversion. So we have 4 factories across India: Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, and Lucknow. We've been around for 5 years now, so reasonably, I think, scale. We do about, I would say, more about 15 to 20,000 tons of feed a year. Still small in the overall feed opportunity, which is like several million tons a year. So we feel we're quite excited about the space we are in. In essence, I would say unlimited potential, both because feed industry can consume what we make, and unfortunately, the reality of commercial food, the fact that we want food the way we want it in our shelves, delivered to us, and so on, means the entire commercial and retail food industry, kind of accepts anything between a 3 to 6-7% of waste, which, coming out of $1 trillion industry, is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. So that's really what we are after.
Thanks, Mr. Krishnan. So now we move to Vishnu Vardhaan from CercleX.
Hi, everyone. Since this was deemed to be like a case study, I'll just tell you how I started. Probably I'll give you some pointers as to how you can get started in this industry. Waste is a huge problem. After the pandemic, we realized that waste is a humongous problem. It's like a pandemic itself. We understood that it is a pandemic that's been unsolved for years. And even though we can send today Aditya to the sun and Chandrayaan to the moon and so on, we have still not solved for the waste as a problem. As a human problem, it's a very big problem. And India now becoming the most populous country, we've sort of kept waste management to the sides. So this was something that I saw as an eyesore for a long time, and I wanted to solve it. And then I realized that in this ecosystem, there's a lot of recyclers already in India. So I didn't want to reinvent the wheel and put factories and so on. So what I said was, okay, there's recyclers across India on one side. In India, there is 2 to 3 crore trader aggregators, small-time kabadiwalas, rag pickers who come to your home to pick up the garbage and take it to an authorized recycler. So there is an unorganized space which is already there. And this space, though unorganized, it's beautifully functional. So I just thought, why not digitize the entire ecosystem? So there's brands on one side who produce waste at their industry level. And there's consumers like us who produce waste after we eat the food, we throw the packaging away. So these are the only sources of waste. So what I said to myself was, if I can look at the sources of waste, and I can channelize waste from these sources to the final authorized recyclers, then I'll be able to create a circular economy. And that's how CercleX came into the picture. Frankly, we can call ourselves the Uber for waste. Basically, it's like you have waste in any location, anywhere across India, any waste anywhere across India. Within 30 minutes, we'll be at your facility, pick up your scrap, and we can send it to authorized recyclers. We have channelized close to 135 million kgs of waste last year. So we are pretty big in the space. We have over 30,000 traders and aggregators with us, currently working with us. Over 1,700 odd recyclers across India work with us on different capacities, including channelization of metal, plastic, e-waste, tires, battery, whatever you can imagine. So that's what we do. And we also make hardware, that's the other side, because source segregation is a huge problem in India. The moment you put food waste together with some other waste which is recyclable, then the entire thing becomes uncontaminated. You can't use both the food waste and you can't use the plastic waste as well. So we thought that to scale source segregation across the country, we wanted something unique. So we came up with smart bins, which we call meta bins, and we put it across India. We partnered with Coke. Incidentally, on Monday, we are installing meta bins in Bangalore International Airport. Soon also in GMR Aerospace in Hyderabad. Our bins are already in Singapore. We have over 10,000 smart bins in Singapore as well. That's going to be commissioned very shortly. So this is what we do essentially. You see a problem and you find other industries in which there is already a solution like Uber and so on. You plug and play that solution into on an already existing problem and you can solve for the existing problem at scale. If you can't solve for anything at scale, then it's useless. So that's my case study. I hope it inspires some of you to start your ventures. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Vishnu. So I would like to thank everyone in this dais for their valuable inputs and also for audience for the patience hearing. Thanks a lot and have a very good evening. Thank you.
I would like to thank everyone present on the stage and also for you to pose for a group photograph.
Can we open for questions for a couple of minutes? A lot of people.
Sir, no, there's no time for question and answers as of now, sir. I'm sorry.